Welcome to the Good Enough Lap Guide in the BMW M2 at Winton Motor Raceway. This is the National Circuit variant. The idea behind this video is to give you guys a good enough lap to work your way up through the splits. This week I did run a little bit faster lap, so even if you can keep within like half a second of this lap and just follow the basics of the lines, the braking points, you should be in a good place to move up through the splits. This was my first time running Winton, so it was fun to learn the track. It's a pretty technical track. I don't see a lot of natural passing opportunities. I feel like it's going to be more of the situation where you need to be patient, get on a guy's bumper, put a lot of pressure on him. He makes a mistake, you take advantage of the mistake. It's one of those kind of tracks, in my opinion. I also did notice they're very lenient with the off track, so you'll see throughout the track guide, we're going over curbs, we're cutting through grass, we're just doing what we can to take advantage of the leniency and make the best lap we can. And finally, I wanted to talk about the BMW M2 and its car characteristics a little bit. It does not like to be driven into corners hard. It'll push on you. When you get in the middle and the exit of the corner and you get on the throttle, it starts to rotate a lot. So it has understeer going into the corner, middle, exit, it has oversteer. So it's just really important that you don't overdrive the car going into the corner, and then when you're in the middle and on the exit of the corner, you're just very gradual with your throttle application so the rear end doesn't step out on you a lot. Also, it's not a big fan of curbs, but you will see here in this video that we do kind of have to attack a couple curbs. And as long as you are cautious with your throttle when the car's bouncing around, you should be pretty stable through those curbs. There are some curbs that are no-go zones. A lot of the curbs on this track are pretty forgiving, so you can go over them. And with that, we'll get into the lap guide. Alright, coming up on turn 1 here, you're going to want to brake a little bit before the 100 marker. Again, you want to be conservative here just so you don't overshoot the corner and get a bad line through here. Here's where we're going to attack the curbs. The car's not going to like it, but you'll just be easy with the throttle as you're going over the curbs. And once the car gets settled, you're back on throttle. Here you want your right side tires to kind of just nip the inside of that curb on exit. And then for this section here, you want your left side tires right in between the two curbs. If you go too far outside, this is what's going to happen. It's going to kick up the rear end. You're just going to lose control of the car. So you don't want to touch those outside curbs at all. Here, there's not really a braking point marker, an obvious one, so I just kind of brake in the middle of the 100 and the 50. You want a late apex here. You can touch the curb. I just prefer not to, because this car just doesn't like curbs so much. Here, you want to run it out nice and wide. Again, we're going to get those right side tires in the grass a little bit. I find a little dab of the brake there helps to rotate the car so then you can use the throttle to rotate it through the rest of the corner. For this corner, it's a late apex. Doesn't matter if you touch the curb here, and then you let the car float out a little bit because you're double apexing this corner. Again, another late apex for this corner, which will set you up for another late apex for this corner. Hopefully you can go full throttle through these two sections. You'll let the car float out just a little bit here, and then you're really hugging the backside of this corner. Another late apex. This next corner, you can double apex, and this lap I don't. I just let it sit off the curb a little bit. But you do get that late apex. This curb's very forgiving. You can even go in the dirt there and not get a off track. Here, you just want to hug the curb all the way around. I found that's the best, fastest way around. Once you get to this Winton sign is when you get back on the throttle. Let it come out naturally. Up here, I don't use the braking markers on the left. I'll use the grass on the right. So you see that grass jets out there. That's what I use for my braking marker. Coming into this corner, it's another late apex corner. Don't touch the curb on this corner. It'll upset the car. Let it float out naturally. Again, up here, I'm not going to use the braking markers. I'm going to use the grass. There's actually a little dirt strip you'll see me highlight. That's what I use for my braking point there. And then coming into the last corner, you can let your tires just barely touch this curb. You get that late apex, let it float out here. You do need to be aware of that dirt at the end, because if you go into it, sometimes it can kick the car out. And then you get your late apex here, and you just let it float out. So that is a lap around Winton. It's a pretty technical track, but once you kind of get the nuances of it, I find it's a pretty fun track. So I hope you guys enjoyed the guide. If you guys enjoyed the video, please give it a like. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you.